So I guess you're wondering how to set your camera up for talking heads and video podcasts, whether you're using a real camera or a webcam or even your phone. So let's talk about it. This is the Crush It on Camera series. My name is Meredith Marsh, and I'm here to help you look good, sound good, and feel good on camera because I believe everyone can create pro-looking videos that grow your audience. And I'm going to start off with the easy stuff here, and then we'll move into some more kind of technical setup like camera settings and things like that. Now, in the Crush It on Camera guide, which you can download through the link in the description, I have some diagrams of angles and spacing and also how to frame yourself on camera. And we'll talk more about that in this video, but we are talking specifically about talking head style videos like the one you're watching right now, and video podcast where you're a solo person on camera speaking to the camera. Now, no matter what camera you're using, a real camera, a webcam, your phone, framing yourself in the box that you're recording is relatively easy, but there is a detail that's often overlooked because it's a very minor detail, but it makes a huge difference in looking polished on camera and having your videos have a pro-looking look. And what I'm talking about here is the rule of thirds. Now, in a video coming up in the Crush It on Camera series, I'm going to talk about how to actually record your videos into your computer because I think that's actually the easiest way to record talking head videos. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that video. But this is something that can be applied whether you're recording into your computer or you're on a Zoom call or you're using your webcam or you're doing a video podcast or you just set your phone up in your kitchen and hit the record button. So just visualize your camera frame being broken up into thirds like what I'm showing you here on the screen. And for a talking head video, it's pretty easy and it kind of is a no-brainer. Just put yourself in the middle horizontally speaking, which goes against the rule of thirds with photography, but this isn't photography. But your head really should be up on this upper third line. So to make it really easy, just kind of align your eyes with that line. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you might have to adjust the height of your tripod or your master mount or adjust the angle of your camera. And we're going to talk about angles in just a minute, but what you're trying to do is avoid a ton of extra space above your head, which can be kind of distracting. It kind of feels weird. It feels unbalanced, and it always reminds me of the genie in a box from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Wish? Did somebody say wish?
You know the one that I'm talking about? So whether you want mostly your head in the frame or your head in your upper torso or your whole body, we're going for balance. Here's another diagram you'll find in the Crush It on Camera guide regarding angles. And admittedly, this may be more of a personal preference. However, that just means I encourage you to play with it. Try some different angles and, have fun. Figure out what your personal preference is. But again, this is a really minor detail that can make a huge difference in your overall look on camera and how your viewers perceive you. My personal philosophy with creating YouTube videos is I want my videos to feel conversational. I want you to feel like we're sitting across from each other having a conversation. That's typically the vibe that I'm going for. And to be honest, a lot of times I get emails or messages from people telling me I seem so down to earth and approachable. And I am, for one thing, but also I think it's part of the vibe that I am deliberately trying to create. And I think that's where talking head style videos and video podcasts really shine. So the way that I achieve my conversational look is I have my camera positioned a little more than an arm's length away from me. It's also positioned a little bit higher than my head, and it's angled down at me just ever so slightly so that I get my framing correct the way that I like it. And recently I started using a teleprompter for recording my videos. I'm using one right now. I don't use it 100% of the time, but I also can use it on my Zoom call. And I think this is a flattering look and a flattering angle for pretty much all talking head style videos because any shadows that the lights create, in a way they sort of fill in on your face and help to make your chin more defined. And since my face is angled up slightly at the camera so that I'm making eye contact with you, it also kind of helps keep my posture up too. Personally, I don't want my camera to be lower because I don't want it to feel like I'm talking down to a little kid, and I don't really want it to be much higher, like I'm looking up at somebody who's ruling over. We're just having a conversation in a polished, flattering way. Speaking of flattering, we're going to talk about a flattering light setup in one of the videos in the Crush It on Camera series, because the video you're watching now is just one video in that series. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the other videos. And I'll link the whole playlist down in the description for you too. However, if you're here to create pro-looking videos that actually grow your audience on YouTube, my best tip for building a thriving YouTube channel is coming up. But let's wrap things up first. Now we're going to get a little bit technical here, and I'll try to keep the jargon to a minimum, but I have a video on my channel all about simple video settings for YouTube. It's like camera settings made easy. So if you're using the Canon M50 Mark II that I recommend, or the R10, or any mirrorless or DSLR camera, and you're wondering about the nitty-gritty details, like the jargony settings that I use on my cameras and my videos, I'll link to that video down in the description for you, because I do shoot my videos with a real camera in manual mode, and that gives me the look and the feel and the vibe that I'm going for. And I highly recommend anyone using a DSLR mirrorless camera to use the manual settings that I outline in that video. So I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole, because no matter what camera or webcam or phone you happen to be using, you definitely want to make sure you have some of these settings in place. So when it comes to the resolution of your videos, you want to go into your settings and make sure you're recording in at least 1080, if not 4K. Now, many people assume that 4K is the best. It must be the best. It's the highest number. And they record everything in 4K, and then their phone or computer runs out of space really quickly, or there's not enough space to actually edit the video, or their computer's not powerful enough to even edit that hefty of a file. I want you to consider that when we're talking about resolution. 1080, in my opinion, is perfectly fine for talking head videos on YouTube. And for your frame rate, if you're using a device that you can adjust your frame rate, I would recommend setting it to about 30 frames per second here in the US, or 25 if you're in the UK. If you're on your phone or your webcam, you can let those devices sort of do their job the way that they're like already programmed to do their job. But again, for DSLR and mirrorless users, if you really want to go to manual mode and learn all the settings that I'm using, just go to the video where I explain it more in depth. So now that you've nailed your camera settings, your camera setup, your rule of thirds for talking head and video podcast style videos, you might be wondering, how do I sound amazing on camera? Or what is the most flattering light setup? And it's all coming in the Crush It on Camera series. But when it comes to making any video content on YouTube that you intend to actually grow your audience and grow your business, building a library of binge-worthy videos is the most powerful way to do that. And I have a video explaining exactly how to become bingeable on YouTube so that you can attract new viewers, new subscribers, and more revenue with every video that you publish. So I've queued that video up for you here, and I've also linked it below.